Hi everyone, it's LacyLola and I'm here with another video. I am today going to show you how I make a yummy queso dip. This is similar to like kind of the queso you buy in the jar in the, chip aisle that's kind of plasticky and really bad for you and everything. This is actually a completely vegan option for people who are looking for something that's very unprocessed. So I'm using sweet potatoes, some carrots, and some onion. I'm going to be adding nutritional yeast. I do have some vegetable stock. You can make your own. You can buy it. You can use water too. It's not a big deal. This is taco seasoning. Now you can make your own mix. You'd want to put things like cumin and cayenne and maybe some paprika and different. You could make your own taco spice mix. Or just buy, this is a store-bought one. I'd just check the ingredients if you're really concerned about the vegan aspect. And there is going to be almond milk in it too. But anyway, yeah. So all of this is going to go into a pot. So here we see I've put all the vegetables into the pot. I have added... So I used about 1.5 cups, I guess, of vegetable broth. They don't have to be covered or anything. It's just you want to make sure that there's enough that it's almost covered, all the vegetables. Because you're not going to want it to be too runny, and we can add more liquid later. You can also drain off, if you use too much liquid, if you think you can also drain some off then. So what we want to do is kind of bring this up to a bit of a boil, then down, and just keep it simmering until everything is nice and mushy. You know what I mean? It's cooked through, really. So, yeah, we'll be back when it's bubbling away. So, you can see that it's just bubbling away, a nice little simmer. I have seen some recipes where they skim off that kind of white foam, but I don't, and it always turns out fantastic. You never see it after it disappears, and it still tastes great. I also don't bother putting in any salt right now because there's a lot of salt in the taco seasoning, and I can always add more later if I want. But yeah, so it's going to be cooking for a good like 35 or 40 minutes, I think. That's pretty much what it was last time. So I'm just going to put the cover on, have it on nice and low, simmering away, and we'll come back and check on it in a bit. So here we're checking on it again. It has been, like I said, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And but the important part is that the carrots are nice and soft. And as you can see, the sweet potato is pretty much just mush. And the onions as well are nice and cooked through, translucent. As you can see, oops, it's getting steamy. So, this is pretty much what you want it to be like right here. This much kind of liquid in there is what I use because I always add a bit more of the almond milk or soy milk, whatever you have. So next is time to get the immersion blender. You can see everything's cooked. All you do is take the immersion blender, and I mean if you had like a Vitamix or something super fancy, that'd work, but I don't, so it's really just about blending, lots and lots of blending. Now, as it's getting blended, you're going to add in your nutritional yeast, and I mean, I put about 1/2 cup in, I guess, and a little bit of the almond milk, and then keep blending, just like that. So you're going to see it start to kind of change its texture a little bit. It becomes really a much smoother puree. And so that's when that's when I add it. I'll start to add some of the taco seasoning, and this is totally to taste. So of course, if you were making your own, taco seasoning mix up, that would be different, but I just mix it in. And you'll usually give it a little taste, and then I'll see. So, really want to make sure. And of course, scrape down the sides of the pot as you're doing it. You could do this in a bowl as well, or again, if you have a really awesome blender like the Vitamix or even a Ninja or whatever, you could just pour it right in there and do it. I've tried this with a food processor, and it gets to a nice point, but it doesn't get completely smooth, so it really doesn't fool you at all. So I want a little more because it still tastes kind of carroty. So I definitely want to have a little more. And if that's actually, you know what? Sometimes I find if it's still a little too sweet, I'll add the tiniest, just the tiniest splash, because I have added almond milk and I don't want to curdle anything, but just the tiniest splash of apple cider vinegar, because I find that it cuts through it without making it super vinegary. So yeah, and you just blend it to the nice thin consistency, and I swear it smells like nacho cheese. And when you're dipping it with tacos and salsa, it's amazing. So let me show you after I plate it up. When you do want to eat it, there's different ways. Like I've used this with chili on chips to kind of make a nachos type thing. And it's really yummy. And being that this is actually completely vegan, you can use a vegan chili and have a completely plant-based meal. And that works out really well. But what I do, if I just want a snack, I will, let me move this. I'll actually just fill up a bit of a bowl with some of the yummy cheese dip. Fake cheese dip. I made this for my brother, and I didn't tell him, I just had him eat it. He was like, oh, really good. I was like, ha ha ha, you ate something completely plant-based. Ha 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 ha. Which I know is kind of stupid, but come on. So anyway, about that much. So I take some salsa, and this is salsa we made at home. Anytime tomatoes go on sale, super cheap. Like these were like 17 cents a pound tomatoes. So we made a whole big batch in May. But I just take a couple tablespoons, and you could just leave it like that, which is really yummy, and like dip into it with a chip. Yum, yum. Or you can mix it in all together, and it makes it kind of like, makes it really like the cheese you get in a bottle. So good. So tasty. So I store it in the fridge in other mason jars. Yes, I love mason jars. They're so good for everything. It keeps for, I think, like a week, maybe a week and a half. I don't know if it freezes well. I've never tried because of the vegetables it's made out of. It probably doesn't. So I just end up sharing it with friends. But yeah, so that's like my tasty dip. I hope you guys all enjoyed learning how I make that. I've just based it on a whole bunch of videos that I watched. Things like Sarah's Vegan Kitchen, I think it's called, and Cheap Lazy Vegan, and a whole bunch of people like that here on YouTube whom I love. So yeah, it's a totally tasty treat. I hope you try it out. If you do, let me know. And remember my own philosophy. It's my name, Lola. Love often, laugh always.